Every day, we wake up to an avalanche of notifications. A new like, a comment, another follow request. But what if I told you that chasing these digital dopamine hits is actually making you miserable? And that an ancient Roman philosopher predicted this exact problem almost 2,000 years ago? Before social media, before smartphones, before the internet itself, Seneca wrote a series of letters that perfectly captured our modern struggle with self-worth. And his solution? It's so counterintuitive, it just might change your life. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 3 ancient secrets that are more relevant today than ever before. And the third one, well, it completely transformed how I think about success. In an age where our worth seems measured by likes, followers, and digital engagement, Seneca's words hit harder than ever. He warned against living for the approval of others, writing to his friend Lucilius, "We should live not for the eyes of others, but for ourselves." Think about it. How often do you hesitate to post something because you're worried about the response? How many times have you felt a pang of envy scrolling through your feed? Seneca would argue that by chasing social validation, we're building our sense of worth on the shakiest of foundations. Instead, he advocates for developing an inner scorecard, one that measures our actions against our own values, not the fickle opinions of others. This doesn't mean abandoning social media entirely, but rather approaching it with the understanding that true contentment will never come from external validation. When it comes to career and self-worth, many of us fall into the trap of defining ourselves by our job titles or salaries. We chase promotions and raises, believing that each step up the corporate ladder will finally make us feel enough. But Seneca reminds us that the good life is not found in your job title or your bank account, but in the quality of your character. This perspective feels radical in our achievement-obsessed culture. Yet, how liberating is it to realize that your worth isn't determined by your professional success? Seneca suggests focusing instead on developing virtues like wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control. These qualities, unlike job titles, can never be taken away from you. Perhaps most counterintuitively, Seneca teaches us to embrace adversity. In our comfort-seeking society, we often view challenges as something to be avoided at all costs. But Seneca argues that obstacles are actually opportunities for growth. As he puts it, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Think about the last major setback you faced. While painful in the moment, didn't it ultimately make you stronger, more resilient? The key is to shift our perspective from seeing challenges as punishments to viewing them as chances to build our inner strength. This doesn't mean seeking out hardship, but rather approaching inevitable difficulties with a growth mindset. In our hyper-connected yet often lonely world, Seneca's teachings on relationships are particularly poignant. He emphasized the importance of authentic connections over superficial networking. One should seek out hands that help, not just hands that clap, he advised. In an era of digital friendships and professional networking, this reminder to cultivate genuine relationships based on shared values rather than utility is crucial. Consider the difference between having 500 LinkedIn connections and one true friend who knows your struggles and celebrates your genuine successes. Seneca would argue that the latter contributes far more to your well-being and sense of self-worth than the former. So how do we apply these ancient teachings to our modern lives? Start small. Begin each day by setting intentions based on your values, not external expectations. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself what virtue this situation might help you develop. Focus on building 1 or 2 genuine friendships rather than expanding your social media following. Remember, true contentment comes from living according to your values, not society's expectations. As Seneca wisely noted, he who needs riches least, enjoys riches most. We might update this to, those who need external validation least, enjoy life most. The path to genuine self-worth isn't found in a new job, a viral post, or even a perfect relationship. It's found in the daily practice of living with intention, embracing challenges as opportunities for growth, and cultivating authentic connections. It's about developing an internal measure of worth that's independent of the world's ever-changing standards. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, Seneca's letters serve as a compass, pointing us toward what truly matters. By embracing these timeless principles, we can build a sense of self-worth that's unshakable, regardless of external circumstances. So the next time you feel the pull of comparison or the weight of others' expectations, remember Seneca's wisdom. Your worth isn't determined by your follower count, your job title, or your relationship status. It's determined by the choices you make, the virtues you cultivate, and the authenticity with which you live your life. In Seneca's words, the greatest wealth is a poverty of desires. Perhaps the greatest self-worth comes when we no longer need the world to tell us that we're worthy.